the shortest here to share first, okay?
Okay.
So, we all share together? You tell her where you feel like you Go ahead and switch partners if you haven't already. When you're done sharing, go ahead and give me a wink so I know you're finished. Got some winks over here. My whole table right here is winking. I've got some winks over here. You almost ready? Got 10 more seconds to finish up. Your eyes hurt, you can stop. 2 and 1. So I heard some really good sharing. I'm going to wait till I have everybody's eyes. Got Natalia's eyes. I've got Odalis's eyes. Got Johnny's eyes. Tori, is up here. All right, so would anyone like to share with the class what they shared with their partner? Where's a place where you feel like you belong and right? Odalis?
A place that I go in, I feel that I belong is home. When I go there, it makes me feel happy because it is quiet.
It's quiet. So a place where Odalis goes where she feels like she belongs in her home, and she feels happy when she's there because it's quiet. It's a great example. Tia?
A place that I go where I feel that I belong is my mom's apartment. When I go there, it makes me feel happy and safe because I don't get kidnapped and she takes care of me. She gives me food and drink when I'm over there.
Good one. I'm going to give Hassa a dojo point because she was looking at Tia, respectfully listening to her the whole time she was giving her answer. I'm going to take one more. So let's make sure we're all tracking Natalia so we can all hear. Very good. So a place where Natalia feels like she belongs is her room, because she can wrap in her blankets and watch her TV. It makes her happy. That's a good one. So we've all got a place that we can think of where we can go, where we feel safe. Delmy, will you put that away for me? Thank you very much. So we feel safe. Sometimes we feel happy in our places. We can go relax in these places. So the reason I asked you this question is because we're going to be reading an article today about homelessness in Nashville. And we want to be thinking about how we feel. Maybe we feel warm or safe or happy when we think of our places. And we're going to think about how it might feel to not have a place like that to go to. And so that's kind of what we want to have in our minds while we're reading our article. Right. So today, before we get started reading, we're going to go over what a fact is and what an opinion is. Because we want to make sure while we're reading that we can really take away some important details, some important facts. So I need everybody's eyes up here on our poster, and we're going to read together. I've got Tia's eyes, got Odalis's eyes, I've got Delmy's eyes. So let's read this definition together, okay? Ready? A fact is a true statement that is often backed up by research. So a fact is a true statement. We know that it's true. Sometimes it's backed up by research. So can someone read me my example of a fact? Hassa?
There were 8 students in class yesterday.
There were 8 students. And today, that's right. So how do I know that that's true? How do I know that there were 8 students in class yesterday? Natalia? Right, so maybe I know that we had 8 students in class yesterday because I counted, I remember. Very good, so that's a fact, we know it's true. So, let's have everybody look it up here. I'm going to read the first line, and you're going to read it back to me. We're going to echo read our second. definition. An opinion is how
An opinion is how
someone thinks or feels about something.
someone thinks or feels about something.
You might not agree
You might not agree
with someone's opinion.
with someone's opinion.
Who wants to read my opinion? Tori.
Miss Garza is the coolest teacher in the world.
Oh, thank you. So, that's my opinion. I might think that Miss Garza is the coolest teacher in the world, but that might not be David's opinion. Maybe David thinks...
That is my opinion.
Can I get a high five?
I couldn't say.
Hey. But maybe someone else has a different opinion. You know, maybe you really liked your teacher from last year, or maybe you think Mr. Hines is the coolest teacher in the world. But whatever it is, you have your own opinion that you might not agree with mine. So we're going to be thinking about facts today while we read our article, because there are some really important facts that we're going to focus on while we're reading. Yes, ma'am?
Oh, it's like the boy named Andrew, like he lives in the airport, but the other people like don't agree.
Yeah, so Andrew and his dad live in the airport. That's a really good text connection that we're making. Andrew and his dad live in the airport, but some people might have the opinion that that's not okay to do. Yeah?
I got an example for an opinion.
You have an example for an opinion? What's your opinion?
All the teachers that Tia had or have right now is the coolest teachers in the world.
All the teachers that Tia has are the coolest teachers in the world? I like that opinion a whole bunch. So now we know what a fact is. We're going to go over some vocab words before we start reading our article to make sure that we know what everything means. So I want everybody's eyes up here. Our first word is advocate. So I'm going to say it and I want you to say it back. Advocate.
Advocate.
Very good. And an advocate is someone who stands up for something or for someone. Someone who stands up for something or someone.
Like Miss Loma's sister.
Like Miss Lomas' sister when she stood up for her.
She told me when she was
That's a great example. You're right. Yesterday, you guys remembered really well. Yesterday during morning meeting, Miss Lomas mentioned that a time that someone stood up for her when someone was loyal to her was when her sister stood up for her when she was being bullied. It's a great example of an advocate. I'm going to put a check mark there because I know that y'all were really listening thoughtfully to Miss Lomas yesterday, and that was a great connection that we just made. So an advocate is someone who stands up for someone else. So Miss Lomas' sister was an advocate for her. And you can see in our picture that this guy right here is holding an umbrella over his friend who doesn't have one, and he's helping him out. He's standing up for him. And so we're going to have a motion to help us remember the word advocate. So our motion, oh, I've already got one. Our motion is when you stand up for someone, you're going to stand up and put your foot down. So we're going to say advocate.
Advocate.
Let's do it one more time. Advocate.
Advocate.
Very good.
Hey, we're sure we love stuff.
Yes, ma'am?
Miss Loma's son is her sister's friend.
Miss Lomas has a
Right
twin
now,
sister.
she told us that right now her and
That's right, they don't look like anymore. So our second word that we're going to go over is vulnerable.
vulnerable.
Let's try that again. Vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. And vulnerable means you need help or care. So if someone's vulnerable, they need some help, or maybe they need you to take care of them.
Like the baby.
Like a baby, that's right.
I take care of
So if you have a little brother or a little sister, and sometimes you have to help your little brother or your little sister, maybe it's because they're vulnerable. David, can you drive? Okay.
mine. We're
What's your first one?
climbing
Just
on
make sure you get a sip of water.
the
All right. Tia, did you have something to say? What's an example of vulnerable?
I am vulnerable to my family.
You're vulnerable to your family, so sometimes your family has to help you, take care of you. Very good. So our motion that we're going to do for vulnerable is this. We're going to say vulnerable. I want everybody doing our hand motion. We want 100% participation. And we're going to say vulnerable. Tori, I got to see you do our motion. Vulnerable. Very good. So we have advocate
Advocate.
and vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
It's kind of weird when one is loud and one is soft.
One is loud and one is soft. That's right. And the way you